Pattern researchers have found in nearly every major study on retirement. They call it the honeymoon effect. In the first few months, happiness spikes. You feel relief, freedom, possibility. But then somewhere between year 1 and year 3, it crashes. One study found that retirees experience a sharp decline in life satisfaction after that initial surge, not because they ran out of money, but because they ran out of something harder to replace. Structure, connection, identity, purpose, the things that quietly held their lives together without them ever noticing. Here's the gap no one talks about. While 67% of workers feel financially confident heading into retirement, less than half, just 48%, say they feel emotionally prepared. That's a 20-point blind spot, and it's where retirement quietly falls apart. Today we're breaking down the 6 things that silently disappear after you retire. These aren't budget line items, they're not in your financial plan, but they might be the most important things to prepare for, because the retirees who thrive aren't the ones with the biggest portfolios, they're the ones who saw these losses coming and built something new in their place. And stay until the end, because number 6 is the invisible thread that connects every other loss on this list. Miss it and the rest don't recover. Let's get into it. Number 1, structure and routine. For decades, your days had architecture. Wake time, commute, meetings, deadlines, lunch at the same hour. A rhythm you never had to think about because someone else built it for you. Then retirement removes the scaffolding. Overnight. Here's the number that makes it real. According to a survey by AgeWave and Merrill Lynch, the average retiree gains roughly 2,500 extra hours per year compared to their working life. That's not a vacation. That's a void, and most people have no plan for filling it. At first, it feels like freedom. No alarms, no obligations, no schedule dictating your life. But within a few weeks, something shifts. The open space stops feeling liberating and starts feeling disorienting. One retiree described it like being a leaf blowing in the wind, not because he had nothing to do, but because for the first time in 35 years, no one was telling him what mattered today. But here's what the retirees who thrive figured out. You're not losing structure. You're being handed the blueprint and told to build your own. The ones who struggle wait for structure to reappear. The ones who thrive design it around what energizes them, not what someone else requires. Number 2, social connections. But losing structure is only part of it, because inside that structure were people, and they disappear too. Work didn't just give you tasks, it gave you a social life. The lunch with a colleague you'd known for a decade, the hallway check-in that turned into a real conversation. You never had to schedule those, they just happened, built into the fabric of every workday. The American Psychological Association estimates that work-based relationships account for roughly half of many adults' social interactions. Half. So when you retire, you don't just lose a job, you lose a social ecosystem. And most of those relationships don't survive the transition, not because of conflict, because of proximity. When the shared context disappears, so does the connection. AARP's most recent loneliness study, published in late 2025, found that 4 in 10 US adults aged 45 and older report feeling lonely, a significant jump from 35% just a few years earlier. And this isn't a soft issue. Research has consistently linked social isolation to a roughly 26% increase in the risk of premature death. The retirees who navigate this well don't try to force old connections into their new life. They build new ones, with people who are living the same kinds of days they are now. Retirement doesn't mean losing community. It means you have to create one on purpose. Number 3, small daily victories. This is the one almost nobody talks about. At work, your week was punctuated by small accomplishments. You finished a report, you solved a problem. Someone said good job after a meeting. A client thanked you. You checked something off the list and felt that quiet hit of progress. You probably never thought about it. But those micro-victories were quietly propping up your sense of self-worth every single week. In retirement, they vanish, and nothing obvious replaces them. There's no project to complete, no feedback loop, no finish line, just open days and a slow, creeping sense that you're not moving forward anymore. One retired executive put it this way. He used to come home and tell his wife about navigating a tough negotiation or solving a problem no one else could crack. Now, he fixed the garbage disposal. He He remembered to buy milk. They weren't bad days, they just didn't carry the same weight. And he couldn't figure out why the evenings felt so flat, until he realised the small wins had been fueling him for decades, and he'd never once noticed. Our brains are wired to find satisfaction in progress. Without it, stagnation sets in. Not because you're lazy, but because the signals your brain relied on to feel engaged have disappeared. The people who stay sharp in retirement don't wait for accomplishments to find them. They design small challenges on purpose, a fitness milestone, a new skill, a creative project with a clear endpoint. The form doesn't matter. What matters is having something to complete, something that tells your brain, today counted. If this is giving you a new perspective on what retirement really looks like, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it before they retire. It helps more people find this kind of clarity when they need it most. Number 4, the excuse shield. Here's one that surprises people. For your entire working life, your job was the most powerful excuse in the world. Don't want to attend something. Work is crazy right now. Need to skip a weekend obligation? Work handled it. Retirement strips that shield away completely. By definition, you have time, and everyone around you knows it. So when someone invites you to something you don't want to do, you can't hide behind a meeting anymore. Saying no becomes a skill you never had to build, because your career did all the heavy lifting for you. And it goes deeper than social obligations. It's also the loss of time contrast. Mondays used to mean something. Fridays meant something else entirely. Weekends felt earned because they were sandwiched between effort. Without work creating that rhythm, time flattens. Every day starts to feel the same, and that sameness can be quietly draining. But flip this around. It's actually a gift. For the first time in your life, your yes means something, because it's a real choice, not a default. And learning to protect your time without an excuse, that's one of the most important skills retirement teaches you. The retirees who master it don't just protect their schedule, they protect their energy, their boundaries, and their peace. Number 5, your identity. This is where it gets heavy. A 2021 study in The Gerontologist found that 41% of retirees experience moderate to severe identity disruption within their first year of retirement. Not mild adjustment, disruption. For decades, what do you do had an easy answer. That answer gave you status, structure, and belonging. It was how people understood you. It's how you introduced yourself. For many, it was how you understood yourself. When that disappears, it's not just a career ending, it's a lens shattering. Some psychologists compare the experience to grief because the brain is processing the loss of a role that defined daily life for 30 or 40 years. Doctors who were always doctor, executives who are defined by their title, teachers who built their identity around their students. When the role ends, the question that remains is one most people haven't asked themselves since their 20s. Who am I without this? That question can feel terrifying, but it might also be the most important one you'll ever sit with, because the answer, when you finally find it, won't come from a job title. It'll come from something deeper, something that was always there, waiting for the noise to stop. Number 6, purpose. And now we've arrived at the one that ties everything together. According to a study by Edward Jones and AgeWave, nearly a third of retirees in their first 5 years said they struggled to find a sense of purpose. And when you look at the 5 things we just covered, structure, connection, victories, boundaries, identity, purpose was the invisible engine underneath all of them. When work provided purpose by default, through deadlines, responsibilities, people counting on you, you never had to think about it. It was just there, woven into your week without effort. Now it's not. But here's what most people miss. A Harvard study using nationally representative data found that retirement can actually increase a person's sense of purpose, but only among those who actively rebuild it. The retirees who sat back and waited for meaning to appear. They stayed stuck. The ones who pursued new challenges, contribution, and connection. They didn't just recover their sense of purpose, they deepened it beyond what their career ever provided. Purpose doesn't retire when you do, but it does stop showing up automatically. You have to go build it, deliberately, intentionally, and on your own terms. The people who do, they don't describe retirement as an ending. They describe it as the first time they got to choose what their life was actually about. Let's bring it full circle. The honeymoon crash doesn't happen because retirement is broken. It happens because most people only plan for the financial side. The savings, the withdrawal rate, the social security timing. But the retirees who thrive, they plan for both, the money and the meaning. They didn't wait for the silence to tell them something was missing. They built before the scaffolding came down. New structure, new relationships, new reasons to get up in the morning. Not because someone told them to, but because they understood something most people don't realise until it's too late. Retirement doesn't take things from you. It reveals what was always yours to build. And the ones who build it, they'll tell you the same thing. That the best part of their life didn't end when they stopped working. It started when they finally got to choose what it looked like. If this opened your eyes or shifted how you think about retirement, hit the like button.